Now, as promised, it's 7:30, so we got a guest, man. We're going to talk to this young man about his time with the New York Football Giants. We're going to talk to him about some athlete activism. You guys, welcome into the show, my man, Geoff Pope. Oh, where's my... Oh, there we go.
What's
Geoff.
up? What's up, man? How you doing?
I don't know it, brother. I don't know it at all, man. All right, so first and foremost, before you came on, I was talking about this farce that happened in Vegas this weekend. Did you check out any of the fight this weekend?
Yeah, I didn't order it, but my buddy ordered it, so I went to his house and checked it out.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. Check it out for the free, man. Real quick, what did you think about it, man? What I was saying before in the first segment was that, like, this can't become a thing. You know what I mean? Because I think boxing is a flailing sport. It's a neat sport. It's not really going anywhere. There are no names. There are no American heavyweights making any noise. And UFC is a sport that's kind of come up out of the nothing, come up out of the dust, and found some legitimacy. And to now start doing this kind of circus stuff, I think would be boxing bringing down UFC and not the vice versa. But what were your thoughts of the entire sham, as I call it?
So I actually think, disagree a little bit. I think boxing is pretty relevant. There's some big names in boxing. But I thought it was a joke, you know what I mean? To be honest with you, that they would even give Conor McGregor this type of shot to challenge arguably the best boxer in the world. And so, you know, you got a lot of people saying, oh, well, you got to give McGregor credit. You know, he lasted 10 rounds. So my deal is like,
Floyd led him.
You know, Floyd Mayweather's he's not a knockout puncher.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So anybody was going to last 10 rounds. So the fact that he knocked you out at being 40 years old after a two-year layoff, it's pretty significant. And so if you ask me, McGregor don't get any credit for lasting 10 rounds because, you know, that's just how I feel about it. But like I said, you know, they trying to give McGregor every ounce of credit he can get, and I ain't giving him nothing because if Mayweather was a knockout puncher like Mike Tyson or Triple G, then yeah, that's a big deal. But Mayweather is a sit back, I'm gonna get this money and last 12 rounds and win a decision, knock you out.
Right.
So. You know.
Right. It's like, yeah, it's that whole, like, so many people just got taken for this thing because of the sideshow and all this ridiculous. And make sure you guys follow my man on Twitter. I am Geoff Pope. I'm saying your name right. You had like one of those creative black parents, right? It's really like Geoff or something like that. It's Jeff, right? Like the beginning, Jeff, the beginning of Jeffrey. So yeah, I am. IAMGEOFFPOP, and we're going to talk about his startup, the LCR.com situation before the interview's over. But let's start with you, man. Let's start with your situation with the New York Giants. It's the 10th anniversary of that Super Bowl team, and I was reading, like, I saw your Wikipedia, which Wikipedia has burned me before in interviews, but I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. Like, how you kind of, like, got up in there was real smooth and crazy, right? Because you spent most of the year on the practice squad that year, right? And then due to an injury, you got bumped up to the active roster, played in that Dallas game, then the NFC Championship. And then next thing you know, you're in the Super Bowl, and then boom, Super Bowl champion. Like, that's the lick. Is that how it went down?
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, I was funny. I mean, if you go back before that, I actually signed with the Miami Dolphins, and, you know, they told me I quote unquote wasn't good enough. So they released me. New York picked me up. You know, we obviously make this playoff run. Miami that year, I don't know if you remember it, ended up finishing like 1-16. Yeah. And, you know, here I am in the playoffs playing big minutes, you know, in most of those games. And so it's just, man, I think it's just a testament to, you know, you got to stay ready. You don't know when your time going to come, you know what I mean? And just going out there and doing the best I can do. And I had, you know what, to be honest, I had a really good example the year ahead of me, Antoine Bethea, who also went to Howard University. He won a Super Bowl the year before me with the Indianapolis Colts. So I had somebody like that in my ear to kind of, you know, calm me down and stuff like that. But that's pretty much, Wikipedia got that one right.
That's what it is, no doubt. Shout out to Wikipedia. Is it the Bison or the Bison?
The Bison.
Bison. So the white boys say Bison. The North Dakota State boys say Bison. And then the brothers say Bison. Got you. All right.
Bison. There you go.
And the reason I hit you up because I was reading an article. I think it was in the Guardian the other day. And your name popped through the article, and you were talking about, or they quoted you as someone who's or described you, I should say, as someone who's encouraging athletes to be more socially aware. And in this time that we're in right now. I feel like every show that I do now, I have to give an update on what's going on with the social climate, especially in the NFL. And people get tired of hearing me talk about it. So I want to know from your aspect, first of all, what are you doing to get athletes to be more socially aware?
So I can't really go into detail about it, but
Gotcha.
what I am doing right now is, I'm basically talking to a ton of former teammates, ton of former guys to kind of just gauge where support is. I mean, I think it's a lot easier to talk about what we can do as far as activism if we're not in it, right? It's hard for me to call, whoever that's in the NFL right now and say, hey, I need you to take a knee.
Yeah.
Despite, you feeding 35 people and, got bills out the wazoo, I need you to take a knee. Now, granted, I should be able to call him and do that, but I think we got to understand that today's climate isn't 1968, 1975, right? So it's a lot harder to ask these young black men who aren't growing up where you see racism literally every day in front of you, like Jim Brown, like a lot of these other cats, Muhammad Ali, to take a stance like that. And so what I've been doing, as well as a couple other former teammates, is just really garnering support for, the right to stand up on these tough issues, man. What they doing to Colin Kaepernick, it's a shame, man. And to hear people like Ray Lewis come out and say some of the stuff he said, Michael Vick, God bless his soul, say some of the stuff he said, and then
that's what you say to like an ugly baby. You know what I mean? Like when you see somebody baby and it's ugly, like bless his heart, just bless his heart.
Right, bless his heart. I mean, and honestly, somebody who's been in the locker room, Michael Vick, I don't look at Michael Vick to give me great social commentary, right? So when he was on that clown show, I can't think of his name.
Yeah, with Jason Whitlock, yes. Him.
Jason Whitlock. I mean, I just started shaking my head because I said, there's nothing that can come out of this that's going to be good. Nothing at all. And nothing came out of it that was good. So, there's not enough people on the other side of that, to say, what, like Shannon Sharp and a few other cats that have spoken up to say, what, man, this man deserved the right to protest. He's silently protesting. What's the big deal? And I think the bigger issue is that everybody's talking about him, quote unquote, disrespecting the flag or disrespecting veterans. Is nobody wants to talk about why he's doing it.
You know what? I want to talk to you about that too, man. That's something I wanted to ask you about because I mentioned this on my show the other day because I heard it come out of my mouth. I heard myself say, we're going to talk about the anthem protest today. And I stopped myself and I said, you know what? That's stupid. That's feeding the idiots. This is not a protest of the national anthem. This is a protest of social injustice. So I figure as black people, we got to own and take back the narrative. You know what I'm saying? Instead of continue to feed these people, these idiots who want to talk about troops and racist songs and flags in these situations and not talk about police that's going home after murdering black people in cold blood. We got to figure out a different thing to call this, man. And I'm not the most articulate and creative person, so I'm not the one to come up with it, but somebody like you and, you one of those learned brothers, you know what I mean? So maybe, you could put your mind together with some other people and figure out something else to a different descriptor for this. As well as when I hear guys who are a part of the protest, feeling like they have to add some sort of subcontext in their comments by saying, now, wait a minute now, I'm not against the troops and I'm not against the country. Like, shut up. Stop saying that because I feel like all you're doing as well is feeding the idiot beast. You keep mentioning that kind of stuff. It's like you feel like you have something to be defensive about. No, you're talking about people being murdered in America by people who wear badges and uniforms and falling under no kind of law after it's done. So I know that's a long way around to get to one question, but is there something we can do to kind of like change that part of it, the way it's being described and the narrative around it?
Yeah, I think I totally agree. I don't know what that is today, but I totally agree. I mean, I think, I said this last week to somebody. People will do and say whatever to protect their bias, right?
Yeah.
And so you got people that's coming out that's saying, Kaepernick disrespecting the flag, or Kaepernick disrespecting the troops, despite troops coming out defending Kaepernick,
right.
And despite Kaepernick saying initially that this has nothing to do with the troops, but you still got people that's riding that out. They can't, they're going to ride it out till they can't ride it out no more. And so it's easy to talk about what he's doing, but they don't want to talk about the issue. And until we talk about the issue, then it's going to continue. And my thing is like this: the NFL, I want to say, is 70% black. The NFL union, which is kind of the lost soul in this whole situation. Mm-hmm. Where have they been at? I think they just released a statement 2 weeks ago. But the NFL union has a black executive director, I think a black president, and they're silent on this issue. Yet, Kaepernick, me, whoever else in the NFL, vividly remembers paying them dues every year.
No doubt.
It's a big number.
No
right?
doubt.
So, if the NFL union, if it's a teacher, right? If it's a teacher in New York that has an issue, she not raising hell. She going to the union, and the union got her back. So you look at the NFL union, they should do the same thing on behalf of their players. And this whole issue of he's not good enough, look at his team, they finished 2-14, this, that. Now, let me tell you something. Kaepernick is 3 years removed from a Super Bowl. Kaepernick is the closest thing we have right now to a big Michael Vick, to be honest with you.
Look, this is what I said the other day. I was like, you know what ended up happening? Like, another brother got signed to a team. Thad Lewis got signed to a team. He ain't played in 2 years. Yep. But as a black person, you can't even rightfully be like real happy for him because right. You feel me? Like, you want to be happy that this brother's getting a check again, but you know that Colin Kaepernick is like 10 times better than him and he got a job now. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, come on, man. Like, once you start throwing Thad Lewis in my face and once you start telling me that, what's that other kid's name? Christian Ponder is on your short list. Yeah. I'm like, come on now. Now you basically just giving me the double middle finger. You're not even trying to hide it no more. Tim Tebow, come on, B. We got to do better than that. You wouldn't call, like, I even told people, I understand the Jay Cutler situation. I understand how many of these things work in the NFL. Relationships, right? You got a relationship with a dude, especially a quarterback and an offensive head coach. That made sense to me. Even if it wasn't what it was, I could still make sense of it. But you can't make Thad Lewis, you can't make an arena football league dude make sense to me. I'm not that dense of a human being. Oh, by the way, I'm talking right now for you guys who are tuning in. The other voice that you're hearing is my man, Geoff Pope. Follow him, former NFL player, Super Bowl champion with the 2007 Giants. Follow him on Twitter at I am Geoff Pope. Geoff spelled Geoff Pope. We're going to talk about the LCR.com situation that he's got going on here in just a second as well before we wrap up the interview. Does Colin Kaepernick ever play again? I told my man Dave Zirin a couple months ago, no, he doesn't. I firmly believe that he is out there to be made an example of for all you uppity Negroes who feel like you can run some stuff around here. We're going to show you why you have these non-guaranteed contracts because of why you can get cut at any minute. This ain't the NBA, pimp. So if you think you're going to step out of line, look at your man. But I want to get it from you. What do you think? You think he ever plays again?
The optimism in me says yes, but if I'm the NFL owners, you got to ride this out.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Because you can't be punked at this point, right?
Yeah, you can't go back now. You've crossed that line to basically that whole quote unquote we got to prove a point.
Right.
You can't really go back. And to Kaepernick's credit, he touring the world. He helping out people in Africa and giving money to J. Cole's foundation, this and that. I don't even know if he's stressing about coming back. He might have already come to peace with himself that, you know what, this is my calling. I made a lot of money in the NFL. I did something that very few people can accomplish. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But he might have got to a point where he's like, okay. But like if you're the NFL owner, you gotta ride this one out. As bad as you look, you gotta ride this one.
Yeah, because like these dudes is these white conservative billionaires. You can't see yourself as being punked. I kind of related it the other day to like the government saying that, they don't negotiate with terrorists because if they do, the next time the demand will be more and more and more. Like the NFL is not playing this game with black folks. Like, you know what I mean? Right. You guys come pay your money to the game and all this stuff about, I had to call out some of my listeners about this like we boycott until Kaepernick gets the job. And I'm like, okay, then what if he don't? Because the NFL is prepared for that. Right. They know the drug that they have on hand, and they know you guys are hooked on it. So you might say, I'm not going to smoke it today. But eventually, the yearning will come back, and you will go back to that same drug that you love so much. Because guess what? Everybody at your job is talking about their favorite team, and you got your favorite team. You want to be a part of the junk talking, and the season will start. it'll start, and then everything will go to the wayside, and it'll be all about your football and your fantasy football team, and all these things that happen in the NFL like clockwork. Ask the Native American people every year what you hear about. The Redskins got to change their name, and then that first kickoff happens, crickets, nothing. Crickets. You know what I mean? Right. I want to ask you about the evolution of the protests, because I've been pretty hard on it. You know what I mean? I don't believe in making stupid people comfortable. And the minute Colin Kaepernick decided that he met with that kid Nate Boyer, and he decided that I'm not going to sit anymore, I'm going to be more respectful and I'm going to take a knee. And then he took the knee, and it was still crap. And I knew that was going to happen because stupid people are never satisfied. And then it went from taking a knee to cats raising fists, and then cats locking arms. And then you got now white boys feeling like, as long as I touch this black dude, I'm a part of this thing. And I'm like, come on, at some point, when do you stop? When does it stop? You trying to appease the idiots and go and move forward? Because to me, I'm not a professional protester or any of these things, but I feel like history has told us that effective protest makes the other side uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? If those bus companies weren't losing money, they wouldn't have gave a damn if Rosa Parks' black ass sat down and stood up. They wouldn't have cared. They would have just got her locked up like they did. But because they started losing money, because these black folks started walking and carpooling, they felt it. They got uncomfortable. But now if it's all about, well, we got to do it in a way that the other people are comfortable, I think you lose all your steam. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
No, I totally agree. I mean, there's power in numbers, right? Imagine if, I don't know, Malcolm Jenkins is, kind of, I guess, carried this torch a little bit by continuing to be vocal about it. But let's just imagine that, I don't even know this number, but Philadelphia Eagles got 53 people on their roster. Let's say 38 of them is black, which is probably a good number. Yeah. Could be less by a few or two, 2 or 3. And let's say all out of them 37 players, 30 of them was like, nah, I'm taking a knee. And what you going to do? You going to cut 30 players?
Right.
You're not. You got to take that L. You know what I'm saying? But when you only got Michael Jenkins doing it or another player doing it, you know what I'm saying, then it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like Chris Long can speak out. And kudos to Chris Long because he's been one of the white players vocal about a lot of these social issues.
Yeah,
but
from the beginning.
Chris Long gonna get every benefit of the doubt. Well, he's sticking up for his teammates, this, that. And so it's like, let Chris Long take a knee. You know what I'm saying? If you really about it, if you really about these social issues, take a knee and get some of your other white players to take knees.
Right.
You know what I mean? But until you you get the numbers to do it, then it's not going to make a difference. Just like the NFL lockout. Yeah, you had a few players, I remember the lockout vividly back in 2010. You had a few players that was like, I'll sit out. I ain't going back to the table. But the majority of them cats was like, I need my bread. Y'all figure this shit out.
Yeah,
I need my bread.
Antonio Cromartie was one of the first ones. Like, look here, man, I got like 17,000 kids, cuz I need my money today. Right. Figure it out.
Figure it out.
But isn't that the big? Isn't that the trick that the NFL has mastered? The divide and conquer situation, where as you have like a Joe Flacco making $24,000, but then you have some dude, some 5th round draft pick that's making a couple $100,000. Like the gap is so wide to where Joe Flacco can be like, you know what? I can take a season off. But the dude that's the 5th round pick that bought his mama a house and got his cousin a car, and he's in this crazy business venture. He's like, nah, I need these checks to keep coming or else I'm back to the poorhouse. And because you have that divide, it makes it hard, doesn't it? The same way with this protest stuff. It makes it hard for a guy who, again, is like maybe a free agent who says, you know what? There's a lot of stuff wrong with what's going on, but I can't stand up. And I guess my question to you is, and this kind of falls on what happened with Des Bryant. When Des Bryant, to me, I felt like he was honest, and I felt like he was the voice of a lot of the people who felt his way, but wouldn't say it. When he was like, "Look, man, I love black people, but I got to eat, and I got a family to support." You know what I mean? I think that's that's realism. And so my question to you, as someone who's been in those locker rooms, what is a realistic expectation for athletes?
Man, it's kind of
NFL athletes in particular.
Yeah, it's kind of that, I think many of us have been ingrained since we was little kids that it's pro ball or bust, right?
Yeah.
Like, I got to make it. I got to make it. So when you make it, it's like, I'm here now. I got to ride this out. And while they sitting there telling you, look, the average career is only 2.5, 3 years, once you make it, you're like, oh, I'm here. I'm about to have a 10-year career. yeah, I'm gonna blow money. I'm gonna travel here. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And so I think a lot of people, whether they, it's cats that listen to your show, it's me and you, other people that haven't been in that locker room, I think we should all realize that the majority of these men are 22, 23 years old with no college degree.
Yeah.
And their whole life, people have been putting them on a pedestal. And you asking these young men to make huge decisions regarding their future that they didn't work 20 years to accomplish.
Yeah.
And people saying, oh, these players is cowards, they this, they that. And my thing is, I try not to ever judge anybody if I'm not in their shoes. You know what I'm saying? And so even at 33 today, I think back 10 years ago when I was in that locker room, I think I would have had enough courage to do it. But I was one of those guys like you was talking about. I was making league minimum. I wasn't making $4 million a year.
All right.
So, to ask me to do it, that's tough. Now, to ask me to pick up the phone and call my union, that's a different discussion. And I would like to think that the players is at least doing that. You know what I'm saying? But who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the structure is just so crazy, man. We got a couple minutes left here with my man Geoff Pope, and I definitely appreciate you taking the time, man. He's a former NFL player. Got him a ring with that 2007 Giants team. Let's well, first, before we move on to the LCR.com, you mentioned something just now. What was your thing? What was your thing that when you got in the league, you said, it's like, I made it? What was the thing that you look back on, the purchase that you look back on as a grown man now, like, why the hell I do that? Like, why the hell I buy that? You know what I mean? Why the hell I spend bread on that? Whether you bought it or you rented it, or a trip to the strip club where you walked out like a couple stacks lighter than you thought you would. What was that thing that you was like, man, hell no? Like today you look back and like, man, hell no. Why I do that?
Man, I was thinking about this the other day talking to one of my former teammates, actually, because we actually both did it. And I bought this watch. And I was just like, I bought a watch, and I'm actually still in the watches today, but when I bought it, I was second-guess buying it, and then I had, the NFL, I think all professional athletes got that whole you only live once type deal, right? Like, I'm here, like, I'm going to do it, screw it. And I bought this watch, and looking back, I'm like, I could have did so much with the money I bought that watch for, right? But, I think my watch or whatever, for me it's a watch. For a lot of these cats, it's a $100,000 car, it's, I bought this property, this and that, or I bought this nightclub. So I don't feel too bad about my watch. But for me, I look back and I'm like, why did I spend $9,000 on a watch?
And you can flip a watch too. You can flip a watch for a decent return. You might not get all your money back, but a decent watch, you can get like a good percentage of your money back. From what I hear, you know what I mean. I'm not in that same game, but I've heard that before. True. So it's not a total L. Like you say, if somebody went out and bought, like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy a strip club, but it's only gonna have like 300-pound women in there. Well, you're gonna end up on the bad side of that business deal. Cause before I let you go, tell me about the LCR.com, brother.
Yeah, man. So I just finished my MBA program at Columbia Business School.
See, learn it.
And me and a couple.
You learn it, bro. I knew it.
And me and a couple classmates, we're just trying to figure out how to solve this whole fake news and this whole bias situation, with major news organizations. I don't care if you lean to the left or you lean to the right.
Word.
I feel like 95% of the information we take in, whether it's opinion-based or actual news, is so slanted that if we're not smart, we fall right in line with that agenda, right? And so we launched a digital publication in which we consider to be an unbiased platform where everyday people can deliver short, compelling articles on their take on what's going on. And so, like, for instance, we just had one of our contributors write a piece on the Mayweather McGregor fight, and how, like you said, I think you said on your Friday show, how it basically was split down racial lines, right? Like, if he was black, despite Mayweather having all this domestic abuse in his past, despite, quote unquote, him being illiterate, despite him being flashy, whatever, you still found a reason to root for, Floyd Mayweather. And if you was white, despite you not knowing nothing about boxing,
right,
despite you not being an MMA fan, you was probably going to rock with Conor McGregor. And so, we tackle the tough issues like that, but it's none of these 4-page, Washington Post articles. It's short, straight to the point, 500 words, just to kind of deliver opinions. And we tell all sides. We got people on the far right that get their opinions, just like we got people that's down the middle, and we got people on the left. Everybody from, bankers pulling in a couple $100,000 a year to the single mom working 2 jobs, right? To the brother who just did 7 years in federal prison. So we're giving you a ton of different perspectives on one platform. Subscription is only $2 a month. We feel like it's an insignificant ask for a completely unique platform, and it's growing. We launched on July 4th, and we're already profitable, so it's going good.
That's what it is, man. The LCR.com. What does that stand for? What does LCR stand for?
The LCR stands for left, center, right, and just like this is, we're giving you opinions from the left, center, and right on one platform, and I think you just said it. That's the .com, the LCR.com. It's pretty simple to get to. Yep.
No doubt. Okay, final question, and I'm gonna get you up out of here. Probably the most important question I'm gonna ask you today. You rock with Game of Thrones, brother? You a Game of Thrones guy?
This is a whole nother topic, but I'm not a Game of Thrones. So I'm not a Game of Thrones brother.
So the next question would be, what's wrong with you? What's your problem, brother?
Man, you know what? Like I said, it's a whole nother show. But I got pulled into the whole. I've been struggling lately to keep it real with this whole NFL situation. Being a former player, it's probably hitting me worse than it is other cats. But when they broke the news of the Confederate show, which is by the same creators as Game of Thrones, I was like, I'm done.
Wait, that's a real thing? I heard about that. Like the thing about if slavery continued. Wait, that's real?
Yeah, that's being pushed by the same creators of Game of Thrones.
That's so awesome.
Exactly. So I was like, if I continue to watch Game of Thrones, I'm indirectly supporting these same cats that think this show is a good idea.
Wait, so hold on. So now you done open up. I'm gonna go ahead and go over time because I got to get into this. So at some point, wait a minute. At some point, do we come out on the top of this situation? Like if slavery, at some point, do we reverse the script or flip the script, or how does this thing end? Or do we just continue to be, humming and picking and getting beat?
Well, that's my point. And so, I had this discussion with so many people. And so, look. There is only one way that we come out of an alternative ending to the Civil War. That's A,
right.
Continue to be in slavery. B, continue to be in slavery. And C, continue to be in slavery. I'm not cool with that. I don't want to see it on TV. It's, you know what I'm saying? If you created the Game of Thrones, which is a brilliant show, and you talk about the mind trap, just like the NFL, it's a drug. Like people can't stop watching it. And it's like the NFL. Like, look, we know we got you. So we just going to drop this news on you right quick. So you can't say you didn't know about this show we want to come out with. My thing is like this, as African Americans, we got to be strong enough to say no, you know what I'm saying, to our vices or whatever we love. Because if we can't do it, if enough black people, and I'm going back, but if enough black people in Rosa Parks Day couldn't say, no, I ain't taking a bus, then it never would have worked.
Yeah.
So, I'm one man, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, if you tell me that you about to come out with a show with an alternative quote ending in slavery, to the Civil War,
that's outstanding.
I'm done with you. I'm not watching your show. I'm not reading your books. Nothing. I'm not entertaining the Twitter commentary. Nothing. I'm done.
You know what we need to do? We need to come out with a different ending, a different alternative ending to the beginning of slavery. Like when they tried to get us on the boat, the first one got hijacked. We took all of them back to Europe and got busy. We built America, put on their backs. Anyway, man, you a fool. Man, so. Hey, man, Geoff, I appreciate you, dog. Hey, we're going to have to do this again, though, man. I appreciate you taking the time out to join the show, though, my man.
No doubt, man. I appreciate it.
You got it.